Have you ever been in a simple conversation where someone casually asks you, "So, what are your weekend plans?" And even though you understand the question perfectly, you suddenly struggle to form a clear and natural answer in English. If that has ever happened to you, then today's episode is exactly what you need. Because today you will learn how to talk about your weekend plans in a way that sounds natural, confident, and easy to understand. Hello everyone, and welcome to English Passage Podcast, where we improve English through meaningful and real-life conversations that you can actually use in your daily life. I'm Mira, your host, and today I'm joined by someone who has a very flexible and sometimes unpredictable approach to weekends. Let me introduce my co-host, James.
Hey everyone, I'm James, and I'm really excited to be part of today's conversation, especially because weekend plans are something we all talk about so often. And Mira, I have to admit, my weekends are not always well planned, but they are definitely interesting in their own way.
That's actually perfect, because real conversations are not always planned. They are spontaneous and natural, just like how people speak in real life. And that's exactly what we want our listeners to learn. So today, we are going to talk about how to discuss your weekend plans in English in a simple, natural, and confident way that you can use anywhere. Whether you are talking to your colleagues at work, chatting with your friends, or even meeting someone new, this is a topic that comes up very frequently.
Yes, absolutely. And the best part is that you don't need advanced grammar or difficult vocabulary to talk about your weekend plans effectively. In fact, using simple and clear sentences often sounds more natural and more confident.
So James, let me start with a very common and practical question that people ask all the time. What are your plans for this weekend, and have you already decided anything specific?
To be honest, I haven't made any fixed plans yet, but I do have a general idea of how I would like to spend my weekend. I'm thinking of starting it in a slow and relaxed way, because the past week has been quite busy and a little exhausting.
That sounds like a very good approach, especially after a hectic week. Can you describe what a slow and relaxing weekend morning looks like for you in a little more detail?
Yes, of course. Ideally, I like to wake up without setting an alarm, which already makes me feel more relaxed. And then I take my time to prepare a nice cup of coffee while enjoying the quiet atmosphere around me. Sometimes I sit near the window, look outside, and just enjoy a peaceful start to the day without rushing into anything.
That sounds extremely calming and refreshing, especially compared to busy weekday mornings. Do you feel that this kind of slow start helps you mentally prepare for the rest of the weekend?
Yes, it definitely does, because it allows me to disconnect from work-related stress and gives me the space to think about what I actually want to do. It's like giving my mind a break before I decide how to spend the rest of my time.
And after such a peaceful and slow start to your day, how do you usually decide what to do next? Do you follow a plan, or do you just go with the flow depending on your mood?
Most of the time, I prefer to go with the flow and make decisions based on how I feel at that moment, rather than following a strict schedule. For example, if I feel energetic, I might decide to go out, meet some friends, or explore a new place in the city.
That sounds quite flexible and fun, but also a little unpredictable at the same time. Do you ever feel that not planning in advance creates any problems?
Sometimes it does, especially when my friends already have plans and are not available. But at the same time, I feel that this flexibility allows me to enjoy the moment more without putting pressure on myself.
That's a very interesting perspective, because many people actually prefer planning everything in advance. For example, I usually like to plan at least one important activity before the weekend starts, so that I have something to look forward to.
That's quite different from my approach. You can see the things what's imaginative journeyeth.
That's quite different. But unleash into that match relief. You get offered this weekend for the day. But if you're impultated for where you decide the material like ni, that can you appointment off?
That's quite different from my approach. But at the same time, I feel that this kind of literally more feature. But at the same time, it means to change the moment. But that's a quite different from my approach. For example, I usually like to plan activities. Do you usually plan ahead of time?
It depends on the week, but generally I like to plan something meaningful, such as visiting my parents, meeting a close friend, or going out for a nice meal. These plans make me feel more connected and give my weekend a sense of purpose.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when it comes to maintaining relationships and spending quality time with people who matter. It also sounds more structured compared to my flexible approach.
Do you think there is a right or wrong way to spend weekends? Or is it completely personal?
I believe it is completely personal, because everyone has different needs and different ways of relaxing. Some people feel happy when they stay busy and active, while others prefer quiet and peaceful time at home.
That's very true. And I think understanding your own needs is very important when planning your weekend. Let's talk about something very practical. When someone at your workplace asks you, "What are your plans for the weekend?" How do you usually respond in a natural way?
I usually keep my answer simple and clear, because in casual conversations, long explanations are not always necessary. For example, I might say, "I don't have anything special planned. I'm just going to relax and maybe watch a movie."
That's a very natural and easy to understand response. And I think learners can use that sentence directly in their daily conversations.
Yes, and the key point is not to overthink your answer. Just speak naturally and keep it simple.
And what if you have something exciting planned, like a trip or a special event?
In that case, I might say something like, "I'm planning to go on a short trip with my friends," or "I'm going to visit my family this weekend." These sentences clearly show your plan without making it complicated.
That's very clear and confident, and it sounds exactly like how native speakers talk in everyday situations.
You know, what I really like about this topic is that it's simple, but it helps you build real connections with people. It's not just about language, it's about communication.
Absolutely. And that's why practicing small conversations like this is so important for improving your English. Because these are the situations you will face every day. So here is today's learning tip. When you talk about your weekend plans, focus on being clear and natural instead of trying to sound perfect or complicated.
Yes, and remember that even simple sentences can sound very fluent if you speak them with confidence and clarity.
Practice speaking about your weekend regularly, even if you are speaking to yourself, because consistency is the key to improvement. So today, we learned how to talk about your weekend plans in a simple, natural, and practical way that you can use in your daily conversations. And remember, improving your English doesn't always require difficult words. It starts with small, clear expressions like these.
That's absolutely true. Real communication is not about being perfect. It's about being clear and confident. And topics like weekend plans are a great way to practice speaking without pressure.
Now it's your turn. Think about your weekend and try to describe your plans in 2 or 3 simple sentences. Say it out loud and practice regularly.
If you enjoyed this episode, like, share, and subscribe to English Passage Podcast for more natural English conversations.
See you in the next episode. Keep practicing and keep improving.